has allowed me to say, oh, I'm scared. Is there one more move I can do that just brings me a little bit closer? But I'm not going to know if I don't just take it a little bit smaller and go one handhold higher. And so that's something that I've used in all pursuits going forward. Okay, I'm scared, but that doesn't mean stop.
Welcome to the I Own It podcast with Ben Reinberg.
All right, we are live from Laguna Beach at the Ben Reinberg I Own It studios today, and really excited for our guest to come on. She's incredibly talented and really diverse, and I think you're going to enjoy this one, folks. So, Jenn Drummond, welcome to the I Own It show. It's great to see you. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's early here in California. I know you're in California now with me, so welcome, and it's great to see you.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a good way to start the day.
Absolutely.
Share some news with the world and then get out on the beach.
Absolutely. Sounds fantastic. So let's kick things off. Let's talk about one of the things I think is so fascinating about you is your journey of becoming a motivator and a coach, and including your life-changing accident, your family, and your world records. Share a little bit about yourself, because some of our audience might not know you. Obviously, I know who you are. Share a little bit about your background, because I think it's fascinating. I think people out there should understand how talented you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I started my career in financial services, luckily, because I'm expensive and it's a good thing to be managing money. I'd be a financial train wreck myself, 1,000%. I was going along doing life. I struggled with fertility treatment. I struggled having babies, then fertility treatment was not a struggle, but it was during the process. I have 7 children because of that pursuit. I believed embryos were life, and I didn't want to go back on my statement. Thank God I grew up Catholic, so my dad was from a big family, so I was familiar with big families, but definitely balancing a big family right now. And just going through life, happy, maybe not thriving, but definitely not surviving, right? And then I got into a horrific car accident in 2018. It should have taken my life and didn't. It was a definite line in the sand for me of life pre-accident, life post-accident. And I would say post-accident, all of a sudden I was like, oh my goodness, this thing could end at any time. Like my life could be over. It almost was over. My resume had a whole bunch of things missing that I wanted to do and see and experience and all that stuff. So I got out of this life cycle of here's how it should look, or here's what you should do, or here's, planning for the future and all the little things that you do. And I really stepped into, okay, I'm going to start living my life right now. My kids are not launched yet. That's going to be okay. We're going to figure out how to do this and thing instead of a if then thing. And at the same time this all happened, my 40th birthday was coming up in 2020. I decided that I wanted to set that year off with like something big and significant to launch the decade. And I moved to Park City in 2015. So I was familiar with mountains. I had climbed the Grand Teton before. I had an amazing experience, but it kind of got pushed to the background because of kids and all the other activities I was doing. And so I felt, okay, for my 40th, I'm going to climb a mountain. So I started training for a mountain called Ama de Blanc. If you're listening and you've seen the Paramount Pictures logo, you've seen Ama de Blanc. Ama de Blanc is the mountain on the Paramount Pictures logo. And I'm training for that. COVID hits. I become a homeschool teacher to 7 children. And one day my son is struggling with his math homework. I'm like, listen, buddy, we do hard things. You've got this. And he looks me straight in the face. If we do hard things, why are you climbing a mountain called I'm a Dumb Blonde instead of a real mountain like Mount Everest? Like, Ama de Blanc, honey, not I'm a dumb blonde, but thank you. You know what? Finish your homework. We'll look at Everest. So he finished his homework. We looked at Everest. I figured, why not Everest? Like, I'm alive. Let's do this thing. And so by the end of the week, I had a coach hired to help me climb Everest and Ama de Blanc. And then he told me to read a book. And this book had a lady that got a Guinness World Record for skiing across the Alps. So it was all about training for mountaineering. And in a frustrated call with my coach, I said, hey, listen, I could have done that. My kids would think I'm cool if I had a Guinness World Record. And I am not cool right now on any level with them. And we were kind of joking back and forth. And he's like, I'll think of something. And I said, well, I'm not growing pumpkins or speed eating hot dogs. So good luck. And then he calls back a few weeks later and he's like, Jenn, I have this perfect record for you. I'm like, okay. I don't even remember the conversation from before. He's like, I think you should become the first female to climb the 7 second summits. Second highest point on each continent. Never has been done by a woman before. Harder than the first 7. 7 kids, 7 continents, 7 mountains. Sounds like a jackpot. And I was like hungry for something that was significant. And I said, yes. And there we go. That's the start of the quest.
How long did it take you to climb 7 summits? Is this like over a 5-year period, 1 year? How does that work?
Yeah. So, I mean, originally I went into it, I thought I was going to just go ding, 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 ding. But I was so naive to mountaineering that I didn't realize certain mountains have certain seasons that you climb them. So, for example, you always see Everest being climbed in May because that's the season to climb Everest, because that's when the jet stream stops on top of the mountain and you have a chance to climb it. Mm-hmm. So I started, my first one was Ojos del Salado, located in South America. I did that one in December. And then I didn't summit some of the mountains the first time, right? So I failed K2 the first time. I failed Mount Logan the first time. So I just finished the last mountain, which was Mount Logan, on June 1st, 2023. So essentially 2.5 years. But that's about as fast as you could get it done, unless I didn't have any setbacks on some of the mountains.
Oh, that seems pretty quick to do everything in 2.5 years. How do you train for when you have to go climb a Mount Everest? Because most people don't know. How do you train for it? Is this like you're climbing stairs? Are you lifting weights? I'm big into health and fitness. Everyone knows that. What does the training look like, and how do you prepare for these type of expeditions?
Yes. So luckily I live in Park City, right? Uh-huh. So I have mountains in my backyard. So you do a lot of hiking. You do a lot of hiking in snow. You do a lot of climbing. You do weight training, stretching, Pilates. I have like a chamber that I sleep in at night that mimics the lack of oxygen in the air. And then I also have a chamber, like a hyperbaric chamber, that helps push the oxygen back into your blood so that you can recover faster and do more training every single day. So I'm using technology to simplify training and to take it further than what we normally would be able to. And then I'm also doing the activity as much as possible. So when the ski resort was closed, I would go put on my boots and hike up the resort at night and then carry my skis up and ski back down and do laps like that. I'm a mom of 7 and a business owner. So my training wasn't like, oh, I got to go do 20 hours of hiking today. I would do some hiking. I'd come home, do some responsibilities. A kid would have a soccer game. I'd bring a 12-inch step to that soccer game with a backpack on. And I'd be the mom on the sideline, like going up and down that step the entire game so that I could watch him and still get training in. And thankfully, there were some other very generous moms who joined in with me. So we kind of turned it into our little workout time. But yeah, I mean, you make it happen as much as you can.
So one of the things you do is coach others. And I believe accomplishing challenges, Jenn, is a key aspect of how you coach others.
Yes.
Give me some examples of challenges you encourage your clients to pursue.
People come to me for all different kinds of things, right? So they're coming to me for, I want to go into this business venture and I need the courage to do it, or I need the support, or I want a sounding board to say, hey, this idea in my head, does it sound as crazy outside to somebody else who's built a business and done this thing? I have a lot of fitness goals, right? They want to climb Everest, so they want to go see this thing. And so they want ideas on how to do that. And really, to achieve goals, one, it helps to have a mentor or a sounding board because it helps you stay centered and confident in what you're doing. And then 2, it's doing the thing as much as possible and getting around people that have done the thing as much as possible. So I would really say I help people with the resilience piece. I help people with the centering piece. A lot of times we can get off center, and then when we're making decisions from that off center spot, we're not making as strong of decisions. So we'll bring them back home, learn what we learned, what can we take from that lesson and carry it forward to keep making progress up the mountain. I think a lot of times people don't realize when you go climb Everest, it isn't a straight shot up. You climb Everest, you go to Camp 1 or Camp 2. That's the highest your body will go with the lack of oxygen in the air. You come back down to base camp. That stress changes the physiology of your blood, which allows you to produce more red blood cells. So now when you go back up the mountain, you can actually go higher up the mountain without that stress level. And when we're expanding our reach or our goals or things that we're trying to achieve in life, it is a lot like climbing a mountain. We're going to get up to camp 1 or camp 2. We're going to learn some things. So we need to come back home to base camp, understand what those learnings are to be able to carry that torch further the next time we go up.
So of all the challenges that you've consciously set for yourself in life, like what's been your most rewarding to achieve to date?
Okay. So I would say K2. I was the third American female to summit K2, but here's the deal. I failed K2 the first time. And I failed K2 the first time because I was on the mountain. I got a radio call on my radio, and then it came in again and again and again, which then automatically puts your brain into what's wrong, because protocol was get a call and then call back within 15 minutes when you're in a safe spot. I got 4 calls in a row. I handed the radio over to one of the people that were climbing with me, the porters. I could tell, right, something's wrong. And there was an avalanche that was below where we were that had taken the life of one of my teammates. It had injured another one of my teammates. And then we had another teammate stuck on the mountain until it was safe enough for a helicopter to come in and not have the vibration of the blades trigger another avalanche. And then, a few minutes, like I'm taking all this in, I'm standing on the mountain. I'm really not, it was so much for my brain to process. All of a sudden I hear someone saying, Jenn. Like, yeah. Hey, we're going up. Your team's going down. Do you want to go up? And the first thing that came out of my mouth was people over peaks. I don't want to go up. This mountain's always going to be here. My team's hurt. We have injuries. We have problems. Like, I need to go down with my team. Like, thanks for the invite, but we're going down. So I got down the mountain, helped with all the things, worked my way out of Pakistan, which is not like, oh, hey, let's skip and jump out of Pakistan. It took 5 vehicles because roads had been washed out, took 3 airplane flights. I landed in LA, and I just remember thinking, okay, I can breathe. Like, it's safe. Like, I hear normal sounds. I smell normal smells. Like, I'm in an area that I don't have to worry about my life, because at the time I was exiting Pakistan in 2021, we had just pulled out of Afghanistan. Afghanistan and Pakistan border each other. There was a time that I had to be police escorted in a car to the airport because they were worried that something was going to happen. I'm like, I came to climb a mountain. I didn't know kidnapping was an option with all this going on. So I came back to the US and I felt like I knew I did the right thing, right? But I still had this sense of failure, like that I didn't summit the mountain, but I did have success in showing up as the person I wanted to be. When I went back to go climb K2 in 2022, I was like, okay, how do I make this, like, how do I redeem myself on this mountain? How do we make this exciting for me and empowering? And I had learned that there was some Pakistani women that were training to climb K2, but they didn't have the resources to make that happen. So I took it into my hands to help make it possible. When I went back to K2 in 2022, I summited. And then about 30 minutes later, so did the 2 Pakistani women who became the first of their culture to stand on their country's prized peak. And I would say that's been the most gratifying, humbling, honoring, amazing part of this experience, because I was able to succeed in my goal, show up as a person that I wanted to, but more importantly, help elevate an entire other culture and have a whole bunch of little girls now see somebody that they look like on top of a mountain in a culture that really is patriarchal.
How do you manage fear? Because you're in some rough terrain, some unfriendly territory like a Pakistan, other countries. Not everything can go as planned. There's some unexpected experiences. There's cold weather, probably freezing.
Yes.
Lack of food. You're tired. Maybe, the elevation hits you. How do you deal with fear? How do you manage that? And has that carried into your life and business life as well? Like, what have you learned from it?
Yeah. Okay. So I stepped into this quest not knowing that I had a fear of heights. Mm-hmm. Like, I can ride a ski lift fine. I can stand in a skyscraper and look down below and I'm fine. So I had no idea that I fear heights. Put me on a rock wall where I'm climbing, and all of a sudden, like, the rope and me are the only thing that's sticking to that wall. I turned white. I started shaking. I wanted to throw up. Like, it was, I was at one point, I'm like, I think we're going to have to do a different goal. Like, I don't think this is going to work. And so I came back down, and my coach is like, listen, you got to that point. Can you go one handhold higher? So I got back up on the wall and I went one handhold higher. And then I came back all the way down. And then I went up one handhold higher and came back all the way down. And believe it or not, I have a fear of heights from 10 feet off the ground to about 30 feet off the ground. After 30 feet off the ground, I'm so far away from the ground that it doesn't scare me as much for some reason. And just having that experience in my story and my narrative line has allowed me to say, oh, I'm scared. Is there one more move I can do that just brings me a little bit closer? And is there one more move I can do? Because maybe once I get past this little section, I'm not going to be scared anymore. But I'm not going to know if I don't just take it a little bit smaller and go one handhold higher. And so that's something that I've used in all pursuits going forward. Okay, I'm scared, but that doesn't mean stop. Scared means it's a feeling I need to go smaller, shorter, quicker, easier because I'm taking too big a leaps, and that's why I'm scared.
Is anyone worried about your safety? Because I mean, I'm sure, you are financially astute. You must have a hell of a life insurance policy, or I'd have to believe, and obviously you're a wealth advisor. We're going to touch on that shortly. And being a sophisticated woman like yourself, I have to imagine the insurance companies are looking at you and they're like, I don't know if we're going to insure Jenn. I can't see it. I mean, she's going to keep climbing and 7 kids. And, what are we doing? Like, how does someone feel about insuring you?
Yeah, no, you do have to. I mean, you pay extra for your insurance. And I do have to watch to make sure that I'm not worth more dead than alive at times, right? I'm like, guys, just because we have this much insurance and you're going to be taken care of does not mean you don't love mommy. But yeah, no, you do have to fill out all the waivers and all the things and all the extra premiums that you're paying or exclusions that you're willing to say, like, hey, if I die in this particular environment, then you're not going to cover, or whatever that looks like.
All right. Well, you're also a wealth advisor that we touched on, and you founded Clearwater Wealth Management back in 2005. You're an entrepreneur like I am as well. I'm in commercial real estate, being commercial real estate for almost 3 decades. I can appreciate what you do and the challenges you go through. What inspired you to get into wealth management?
I mean, honestly, I had a friend that graduated from college a year ahead of me. And he goes, Jenn, you're expensive. You should get into finances. Even if you don't pursue this career, you'll at least have the foundation of how to manage money. I was like, oh, that makes sense. I like that idea. Well, then you get into that field, right? And then you help somebody buy their dream house or send junior to college or, plan that 50th wedding anniversary party where they travel the world for 6 months or all these, like you get to be a part of people's dreams. And then you get to help them establish the stability that they need to feel comfortable living those things out. And just being a part of somebody's story like that is so honoring and humbling and so exciting for me that it was a perfect career match. I don't know if I knew it going in, but once I got into it, it started to feel even better and better.
Well, what kind of clients are you working with? I mean, do you have many sophisticated investors? What's a typical client you'll see walk through your door?
Yeah, so we have a unique platform. So I started a financial service business that white labels a platform for credit unions to use. So credit unions are in the industry and they now can offer like IRAs or 401ks or different things like that. They typically are doing that with a third party arrangement because to have all the layers of compliance in-house themselves, it's pretty cost prohibitive. So I run a platform that white labels for institutions. So we do all the compliance and things like that behind the scenes for them and then have a revenue sharing agreement. When it comes to retail clients, so clients that come to us a different way, then it is typically a more sophisticated client that has a number of different income streams and a different number of goals. And how are they transferring wealth to the next generation the most efficient way? And do they hire junior or do they do Roth, like backdoor Roths? Like all the little secret things out there that are applicable.
Do you have many investments in commercial real estate with your clients, and what kind of investment vehicles are you investing in?
I mean, it's different for each person. I say we operate more as a family office than we do as the typical retail broker. And a lot of people in that arena have relationships and they're getting into deals because of somebody else recommended it. And then I'm helping look over the deal and say, hey, does this really make sense? And is this part of your overall strategy? I mean, it's amazing how many people come to people with ideas, right? And then they don't know how to say no. So then I'm the person that gets to be the no for them and say, yes, this deal makes sense, or no, this deal doesn't make sense, or here's how it's going to fit into your portfolio, and move that way.
Well, are you telling prospective clients about your investment philosophy, especially when they ask, like, what kind of returns should I expect if you help me diversify? What are some of those conversations you're having with them?
Oh, I mean, I do, but I also remind them that I'm in this industry. So I'm a little more I'm more of a risk taker than probably most of my clients are, because I mean, that's what I do, right? So
shocker, a lady that's climbing 7 continents and summits and putting her life at risk. You're a risk taker.
I mean, maybe it goes across the board, right? It goes across the board for sure. But most of my clients are much more conservative. And they're more or less looking, okay, how much of my portfolio should be in real estate? How much of that should be in commercial versus residential? Many of them have multiple homes. So then it's managing those types of things that go into the picture. Transferring wealth with real estate is a very advantageous piece for them. But it just, honestly, it is each person, and it's normally me, an accountant, maybe an attorney that's looking over all the pieces together.
And what do you tell them about, like, private equity opportunities?
Oh, I'm a fan. I am. I mean, if it's the right deal for them, I'm in.
What type of returns are your clients looking for? Is it like double digits? Is it balancing? Do they look for tax benefits? What's typical for them?
I would say we're more of a tax benefit balancing. They're not really chasing the double digits. They're looking for not crashing the Ferrari.
Okay, got it. And so tell me about now. So now that you're not climbing, okay, and what are you doing on a daily basis for your health and fitness?
Right, I'm lost. I was like, when I first came home and I went to the gym, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can do what I want to do. I don't have to do what I need to do, right? What does that even look like anymore? So I would say these last couple months have been just playing again. Okay, I'm going to go to Pilates, or I'm going to go do paddle boarding, or I'm going to go mountain biking, or I'm going to do kind of doing whatever I want. But I do feel like, okay, I'm going to need to find something again soon, because I just love the chase of a pursuit. And I love the progress that you can document, saying, hey, here's where I was, here's where I'm going. How do we move forward on that? I just haven't committed to what that is yet.
And then what do you do for your diet? I mean, you seem like you're pretty healthy. What's your diet on a daily basis?
Yeah. So I would say I have junk food Jenny. So some people have sweet tooth. I have sweet teeth, like almost all of them, I promise.
Uh-huh.
But I got anthrax when I climbed in Pakistan last in 2022. So I got super sick and had to go on crazy antibiotics, which entirely wiped out my biome and all the things. So for the last year, I've been really trying to eat all the healthy things as much as possible to just rebuild that system, because I really lived firsthand how important it is to have your stomach working for your mentality to be working. Like, I didn't really understand the gut-brain connection until all of that was off and I started to not feel my normal self or my normal energy level or my normal excitement. So a lot of greens, a lot of vegetables, fish, chicken. It's been a lot healthier than what it's been in the past. I'll tell you that much.
So what's your sweet tooth? What do you like? Everyone knows I have a sweet tooth. I'm big into Swedish fish. And
the little ones or the big ones?
Well, it depends what the staff gets me. They send packages to my office, which is killing me. But I love candy. I'm a candy kid. What do you love?
I'm a candy kid. I am. I like not even ice cream or chips or whatever. I am like raw candy. And so I grew up in Holland, Michigan, and there's this candy store called the Peanut Store.
Uh-huh.
And it's been in the family for like 3 generations. The owners are amazing. They have all these fresh buckets of candy throughout the whole store. And they make these chocolate covered gummy bears.
Uh-huh.
I love the chocolate covered gummy bears from the Peanut Store in Holland, Michigan. If you go, get them. They're worth it all day long.
Are you a flower person? Because isn't Holland, Michigan big into
tulips? Yeah. Tulip time. Yes.
There you go. Well, I'm from Chicago, so I mean,
you get it.
I know I know the region. It's beautiful up there.
It is beautiful.
So the name of the show is I Own It, and you own it. You own every aspect of your life. You're talented, sophisticated, smart, been successful, entrepreneurial. Jenn, we're all works in progress. What's a recent example where you realized you had it wrong and you didn't own it fully?
Do we need all of them? What one do you want me to pick?
We only have so much time. But you got to get back to work, but just one would be plenty.
Yeah. Parenting is this thing, right? Like I thought I was doing it great. And then my 16-year-old threw a curveball for me. So here's what happens. He has a curfew of midnight because that's the curfew that everybody has around here. So I'm just going with the flow. And I am not a night owl. I am a morning one. So I am like sitting on the sofa, barely awake. He comes in the front door and then it's like right before midnight. I'm happy. I go to the bathroom to go to bed. He walks out the back door and takes my car and from Park City drives down to Salt Lake City, which is like 35 minutes away to get Wendy's because like our Wendy's was closed or something. He wanted a hamburger. And he has a friend in the car and there's an Audi down the road that's egging him on. So he gets into a high-speed car race between Salt Lake City and Vegas, right? Like I-15, a huge road that he's racing my car on. I get a phone call in the middle of the night from a police officer. And I'm like, I don't even answer it because I don't know the number. And I get phone calls because I travel a ton. So WhatsApp is something never, I'm like, oh, whatever. It's one of those people. The call comes in again. And then I find out like, hey, your son's been in a high-speed car race. He was going so fast that we have to impound the car. You need to come pick him up. I'm like, is anybody hurt? Nope, everybody's fine. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'll be right there. And then I have to call the cop back. Actually, I'm going to be there in about a couple hours because that's how far this kid got in this car for like whatever was going on. And so like just when you think like you're doing it right and everything's falling into place, I think your kids just like to go beep and poke you and remind you that there's more to everything.
How do you manage 7 kids? I have 3 kids and that's a zone. I don't even know how you manage 7 kids. How does that work?
Well, the nice thing is that they're close together in age. So they do manage each other to some level, right? I have a couple police officers in that mix that are like, you're not supposed to. This is how it's done. Da, 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 da. So they help manage each other. And it is whack-a-mole. Most days it is whack-a-mole. Whatever it is going is what I'm going to start hammering on.
What's the age range, like top to bottom?
Yeah. So my oldest is 16 and my youngest are twin 10-year-olds.
Oh, wow. So yes. you got your hands full.
I have my hands full. Yes. I finally realized the other day, I don't know why it took me this long to connect the dots. I think I was hiding from the fact that I will have 7 teenagers at one point. Like my 19-year-old will be, and I'll have 13-year-olds.
That's an exciting house.
Yeah. Know me now because
that's right. Are the grays coming in yet?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. These are colored. We're protecting these as much as possible. Let's be honest.
So what's the best way to follow you so our audience can engage with you? Like how do you go knee deep with Jenn Drummond?
Please check. I think the best place is the website. So www.jenndrummond.com, 2 N's for Jenn. And that I have a book coming out in January. I have fun little challenges, the coaching, retreats, all the fun stuff can be found there.
So I guess the slogan can be 2 N's and 2 M's. That's how you find her. You can use it. I'll loan that one to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Even though it's your name.
Perfect.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Let's wrap up with our 3 questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So you're in our studio in Laguna Beach. And by the way, you are more than welcome. We could do another one in person. We'd love to see you in person and learn more about you. And we can do it in the near future and really do it in person. I think you'd love it down in Laguna. In our studio, we have a couch, Jenn. I would say, okay, get on the couch. Take off your shoes, lay down, close your eyes. You are in your 40s now, and you can roll back to when you were 16 years old. You've accomplished a lot in life, and you're this intelligent, sophisticated, successful woman. Go back to when you were 16 years old. And if you can go back and look at yourself and talk to yourself, what advice would you share with yourself, knowing what you know now?
Have more fun. I think I was so worried about being successful or doing these different things that I was so focused on the destination. I would go back to myself and be like, relax enjoy, have more fun. It's all going to come together.
So be present, which is it's important in anything in life. I mean, a lot of people are going back and looking at the past, looking at the future instead of worrying about what's going on now. And it's a tough thing for people to learn and do, but I could tell people out there, if you could focus on the present, your life will be so much more fulfilled. And thank you for sharing that. So it's our last day on earth, Jenn. God forbid it's me and you. And by the way, we're not going climbing, so forget it.
We're going to be eating Swedish fish and gummy bears.
We'll get into that. So it's our last meal together. And what are we eating and what are we drinking? It's your choice.
Oh, I mean, yes. One, we're just eating dessert. Let's just be honest. We're just going to eat dessert. If it's our last day, we're not worried about anything else. So we're going to be in a candy shop eating dessert together. Nice. We will be, let's pop some champagne. Let's have some mimosas. Okay.
What a combo. Mimosas and saltwater taffy, Swedish fish, some Snickers.
It's perfect.
Kids. What a good time that will be.
Yes.
So in our studio, we have a black door. Okay. And we have a grand piano, drum set, electrical and acoustical guitars. And you're in studio with me. And you can pick any band or musician to walk through that black door and play us a song. And they could be living or deceased, Jenn. Your choice. Who comes through that door and what song are they playing us?
Bon Jovi. I just want to live while I'm alive.
Okay. I like Bon Jovi. Nice. I don't think we've ever had anyone say Bon Jovi on the show, so that might be your unique original. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to listen to more episodes like this that Jenn Drummond just dropped on us, kick that right-hand button and click subscribe. Please click the like button as many times so we can let this wonderful content, and as we say out in the ether, let it go viral. To follow me, go to benreinberg.com. You can follow me on all different social media platforms. And if you are interested in investing in commercial real estate passively in the #1 fund in the United States, go to alliancecgc.com. That's alliancecgc.com. We will show you how you can build wealth and create a legacy for you and your family by investing in our brand new Alliance Medical Property Fund. It's the hottest fund on the market. So feel free to log on, reach out to us, and we're happy to show you how we can build you wealth and tax benefits as well. Jenn Drummond, thank you so much for coming on the show. What a pleasure. And I'm great to see you. You look healthy, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the I Own It podcast with Ben Reinberg. To hear our past episodes and connect with Ben, visit benreinberg.com.